Hey, how's it going? In this video I'm going to be showing you some basic hips and lower back stretches which are going to help, especially if you have a lot of lower back pain or general hip tightness. So these exercises you shouldn't perform almost every day, perhaps every 2 3 days, alright, because if you do them too much you can have some negative effects, but they are useful to do, especially if you do have tight hips. So you can see the first thing that I'm doing here is the cobra stretch, and you can just come up and hold this for 30 plus seconds. The next one that we're going into is a yoga pose. I believe it's called child's pose, but it's a really nice one that you can do to really strengthen and stretch out the spine and get things nice and neutral and those shoulders back into the alignment that you want them to be in. It's also very therapeutic on the lower back as well, and so we do this one on occasion in sessions as well, depending on what we've been doing. So with this one, all you want to do is just gently relax into position. You want your arms nice and straight. And then from there you want to push your head through your shoulders and down into the floor, so you get that nice close lower body position and your chest down to the ground. Next, from here we're going to do some spinal mobility. So you can see what I'm doing here is simply rotating through everywhere my palm goes. I'm looking at my palm the entire time, just rotating the trunk and just generally giving everything a good stretch out, making sure that I bring the shoulder down to the ground every time. And as you can see here from the front, taking the time, hand goes through, and then as I come up I rotate the whole spine, including the neck as well, and just really mobilizing each vertebrae of the spine, which is going to really help if you have quite a tight spine and upper back. From here, this next one is just basic spinal decompression. So what you want to do is make sure your feet and knees are completely together, and then put your arms out to the side and just gently rotate side to side. You'll notice as you do this you might feel a couple of pops and clicks as you're rotating side to side. That's absolutely fine. That's just gases escaping from the joints, from the synovial fluid it's called, which lubricates the joint. That's perfectly normal. And what this is, it just gives a little bit of almost breathing space of the vertebrae and just gets things nice and loose. But again, I wouldn't recommend doing this daily, but perhaps every sort of 2, maybe 3 days is absolutely fine, and it's really going to help if you have a tendency to have lower back pain. So this next one is just an extended version, but it's more internal rotation, so we're twisting the hip and then just pulling it down. So rather than moving side to side, instead this is going to pull on the hips themselves a little bit more. And if you have a little bit of sort of sacroiliac joint pain, if your doctors or physio has diagnosed you with it, this one can be a nice one to just gently relax it. And again, you might feel a couple of pops and clicks as things realign, and that's perfectly normal. But just like the one before, you don't want to do this one too often, so every sort of 2 to 3 days is perfectly fine, but no more than that's required.
You women are mad for those books. Pardon? You women are mad for those books, a little bit of soft erotica.
Make sure in this one as well that you gently reset yourself. Don't rush the end of the stretches, otherwise you might potentially hurt yourself. So this one again is a little bit more aggressive, should I say. So this one should be approached with caution, but all of these movements combined you can do. And so you see what I did there is I simply brought my knee up so that it was pointing towards the sky, so a 90-degree bend in the legs, which you're going to see here. And then I grab with the opposite arm, relax the leg, pull over to the side, and then you can see my free arm is just out to the side and my body's nice and straight. So you want to keep your body in one nice straight line when you're doing this, which again is going to help decompress the spine and also stretch out the lower back as well, which is really going to help. You might also feel this in your glute, okay, so in your bum cheek. That's perfectly normal, especially if you have really tight hips and things.
I'm doing a voiceover so you can talk. How are you doing? Are alright?
I'm alright, Ian.
Yeah, I'm alright, thanks.
Yes, I've got a phone call and I was messaging you.
This next one is a knees to chest. So you're just going to bring both knees up and you're just going to hug yourself in nice and tight. It's very similar to child's pose that you saw before. But this one's also really good to just reset the hips a little bit, especially if you do a lot of driving and sitting. This one can really help just sort of loosen things off. And you can even extend the movement by grabbing onto each individual knee and then pull them actually out and around your sides a little bit more. Okay, really help open up the hips, which is quite useful for those who struggle with squatting as well. This final one that I'm going to show you here is just a different type of hamstring stretch, but it incorporates the lower back as well. So what you want to do is you want to gently lower yourself down, keep the legs straight but unlocked at the knee, so you don't want the knee joint perfectly straight, and then you're just going to gently come down and hang. And as you're doing this, you want to have nice deep breaths into the stomach, not the chest, and every time you exhale, you'll find that you come down slightly further every time. And then when you come up, just come up nice and steady so that you don't risk any injury to your lower back and also prevent any risk of dizziness as well.